50?
I never had a grandfather. I never had a grandmother. All my aunts. I've got 50 members of my family who passed away in this horrible Auschwitz camp. As you all know, I'm Sephardic, and my family come from the island of Rhodes Island. We'll have time later to talk about. Yesterday I've asked a few of you who have lost family in this camp, and I count from all of us here, we lost 58. Excuse me. Oh, you were busy on that side, and I didn't want to disturb you on that side. As we have a bit of time, I would like you to read something. It's in memory of all my grandparents. I've got a file here that later on I can pass it on to everyone who can have a look. This is the memorial picture, the monument in Rhodes Island. 1,700 Jews were taken there to Auschwitz, and the whole community was wiped out in a half a day. Now, this picture here, it's my uncle Giuseppe Mallel. He survived, and he wrote his first letter that I have here, his first letter when he came out of the camp, and that was on the 14th of September 1945, the first time that he took a typewriter and wrote to his family to say what happened. So this is in Ladino, and just before I came I tried to translate it in English. I'm sorry if the words are not correct. I'll just go through some of his part of the letter. And he says here, I confirm receiving your letter, your telegram, and I thank you so much for that. I'll carry on because it's other thing. He says, from the Beit to Poland, it took us 15 days, but they went from Rhodes to the Beit. And he says, 15 days. In animal wagon was small window, and on each wagon we were 70. Can you imagine the suffering we had in this wagon? We could not even able to sit. We were so many. It was not that we were decomposed. The women and all were most of it naked. We were going to die, and no food for 5 days. I did not eat for 8 days. I gave all to my 2 children. The translating from Ladino to the English, I don't know if it's correct, he says for his kids because they all died. So he says here, they disappear without any guilt. The only reason they were only Jews. Then he says, after dreadful trip, we arrived on the 16th August 1944 in Poland, and I saw the SS. They separate us from the old, and they separate the married woman. All the children were burned on the same day, and we, the young ones, we were able to work. Now I must tell you one thing. From the 1,700 Jews from Rhodes who arrived in Auschwitz, it took them exactly 1 month from Rhodes to Auschwitz, and only 156 of them survived. A lot of them died during the liberation of the camps because they didn't have the health, they didn't have the medical treatment they were supposed to have. Then he says here, our beloved sister Allegra was liberated by the Americans when I arrived in Bologna. 2 months after, from a newsman I learned that Allegra was alive. Immediately I was in contact with all the authorities, and finally after 20 days I heard the news that she was in Florence in a bad condition. Immediately, I sent a telegram to the hospital, and they replied to say that she died on the 11th of August 1945. Half of her body was paralyzed and had tuberculosis. He says here, it's a traduction from the Spanish, Mr. Quimando. That means I am burning. I am burning of rage to see so much of tyranny and suffering. She was alive and came to die in Italy, and happy to give a final decent funeral. We are the one who has lost the most, 15 members, and I am alive because 3 guys that helped me in the camp. That's a very important thing, because we were talking who saved and who helped some people, and you will see what he says on the other pages. Before, my uncle had the idea to leave Italy for good also. He remained in Italy all his life. So it was done in 1945. He says here, before I leave Italy, I will do everything to bring Allegra body to Rome to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. And do a proper tombstone on the dignity of the Mallel family. All the rest of the family, regrettably, Papa, Mama, Sarah, Diana, my in-laws, the cousins, my wife, my 2 children, another 2 children, and 3 cousins did not have the chance to have a stone. What to say? My head's going to blow. With all that, my heart, I'm trying to translate this, became hard and cruel despite what I saw in Mauthausen. The killing of 700 to 800 persons per day. I was tired to see dead bodies every day. There was no end. But with all the courage, I thank God to see you all. Our dear father used to say, you must have many sons, and tell Moshe, the family must always be united. That's a very interesting paragraph here. He says, I worked for 5 months in the coal mining at 600 meters below. It was quite hard. We used to work 10 hours per day. I was working on an 80 centimeters gap on my knees without any moment of relaxing. We were well controlled. In 3 days of work, I lost 10 kilos. I had to speak to my engineer that I was not more able to do that work. It was hard. I smelled the dead on me every moment, and gave him my hammer to kill me. Finally, he realized that I was too tall for that work. Working on the hole of 80 centimeters, from what I understand, he used to working with his hand and take the cow. Finally, they realized that I was tall for that work. Working on that hole of 80 centimeters. He put me under control of 4 machines. I can say that I was fine. Fortunately, I was in contact with Los Muestros. Los Muestros, that means my friend from Rhodes. That's what he means. We call it Los Muestros. And friends with some Polish, and that they used to get me some food every night, and it is because of them that I did survive. So we were talking about this problem before. On the 19th of January 1945, the Russians were coming, and we had to evacuate the camp, and we marched 80 kilometers and over 700 died. And then they put in the open animal wagons with a temperature of less 30 degrees without eating. 120 persons per wagon, 10 to 15 used to die every day. They obliged us to eat snow. This trip was 6 days. I arrived half dead at the Mauthausen camp. We were free by the Americans on the 23rd of January 1945, and I was operated 3 times on my feet, and very lucky that I survived. I was in hospital till the 5th of May 1945. The last 3 months before liberation, in each block hospital there were approximately 950 to 1,000 persons, and every day we used to have around 5 deaths to some blocks, and there were 70 to 80 dead per day. Many days we stayed without food, some soup, hot water with some margarine, and every 3 days 45 grams of whole bread. We were obliged to eat coal with grass and peeled potatoes. Despite that many were sick, we were obliged to shower twice a week, and we had to march 300 meters completely naked, without shoes, on the snow. Day 35, and I was not clean and naked. I lived mostly naked from the 23rd of January till the 5 naked. I was naked like my mother gave me birth. I mean, this is the traduction, the way it is. I'm trying to explain exactly what the traduction from the Ladino, Spanish. What we went through in the German camps, it's incredible. When we were liberated, I was 99% dead and in a state of fade away without any hope to be saved. I was in the American hospital from the 5th of May till the 20th of June 1945. When I was in Rhodos, I used to weigh 95 kilos, and I arrived in Italy with my weight of 40 kilos. Thank God I have 5 injections per day, and I weigh at present 70 kilos, and I eat good food. Now my uncle Giuseppe lost his wife and his 2 children when he went to Italy, naturally after just 2 months in hospital, and in Italy, in Ostia. I don't know if anybody knows Ostia, where it is in Italy. It's not far from Rome. And there was a house where most of the Rodisleys, we call it Rodisleys, used to go there to meet each other to find out news about their family. And he went there for the first time, and he saw some friends from Rhodes. And then he saw a lady, Rosha Hanan. She was completely lost. The only family she had was in Rhodesia, at the time Zimbabwe today. She was all alone and all lost. Believe it or not, an hour after, he told her, let's get married. And they got married. They had 2 wonderful children. After 1 hour, he told her, let's get married. And they got married, and they had 2 wonderful sons. And one of my nephews, my first cousin's son, is today like a rabbi. And 2 years ago, he's 25. And 2 years ago, he did the commemoration of Rhodes. We were 400 people who went to Rhodes for that commemoration. This book can be in hands of, I will pass it around. I'm quite involved in the Sephardic community in Cape Town for all the people from Rhodes, mainly the deportees. I have to tell you one thing. I've got here 2 documents. Yeah. These documents were done by the Italian authority. And when the fascist law came out, they took the names of all the Jewish people from Rhodes. And you will see here, it says Raza Hebraica. Raza Hebraica. That means Jewish race. So when the Germans want to take the Jews out of Rhodes, the Italians gave them this list. and I've got copies of this. That's the name of my family that I find. The Jews of Rhodes were the last community, I think the last community were taken to Auschwitz. They were taken on the 23rd of July 1944. And one story that I have to tell you is that we had a wonderful Turkish consul in Rhodes. When on the 21st of July, most of the men were in the hall, military hall, and women's and children's. The Turkish consulate went to see the Gestapo, and he told them, I've got a list of 44 people that you're not allowed to take them. And it took him hours and hours and hours, and he had the results. He saved 44 people, and his name is Ulguman, and naturally he's in Jerusalem in the Holocaust. And also the day before the deportation, the Muslim imam, Sheikh, because the relations with the Turks in Rhodes were good, he took the 16 Sefer that they were in Rhodes and hid them in the mosque. And this 16 Sefer were shown to the Israeli delegation when they came to Rhodes in 1949 to sign the armistice with Egypt and Jordan and all that. And 14 of them went to Israel with Moshe Dayan, with Rabin, and with the other guys. Not long time ago, I received an email from the Holocaust Museum of Johannesburg asking me some information if I knew a lady called Sarah Mallel. And that's an amazing story. There's an organization who is fixing up some, I don't know if you heard of the camp of Koffering. You know Koffering? No one knows about it. No, I didn't know myself. I will tell you about Koffering later on. Now, there's people from Denmark who went to Koffering to try to fix up some of the places where the Jewish were in the camps. And now, in doing pictures of that, they find writing of some of the people. And one of them was my aunt, Sarah Mallel, my father's sister. I've got all the pictures here. You can see it later on. And they asked me who she was, so naturally I did follow everything and help them to find out who they were and etc. Germany. Yeah, Germany. And this is one, and I never knew about this camp. You can see it. It's a completely different type of camp that we normally see.